could shift it a little.
But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. From the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. Welcome. I am pleased that you have joined with us for the Lenten series of services. They are sponsored by Communities Together. Lent starts on Ash Wednesday and lasts for 40 days, which represents the 40 days that Jesus spent in the wilderness. It is also a time when we draw closer to God. Traditionally, we have come together as Christians and gathered throughout the Greater Lawrence area for services of reflection in the preparation for the resurrection of Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. The services will be every Wednesday leading up to Easter. This year, the services are online. I hope you can join us each week. For many years, you have joined with us during Lent to support our annual diaper and underwear drive and the Chaplains Fund. We appreciate your continued support. At the end of the service, there will be more information regarding how to donate.
There are two readings for today's service. The first is Psalm number 121, the translation being the JPS Tanakh translation used in the Jewish Study Bible. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your life. The Lord will guard your coming and going, now and forever. The second reading is a poem by Mary Wellenmeyer entitled The Journey. It's a pilgrimage, like a trek around Mount Kailash, or perhaps Bodh Gaya. But it's life itself, the whole thing, every moment. On the high passes of Mount Kailash, pilgrims hope for a kind of death, a rebirth of spirit. And it's not a bad thing to go there, do that, if time and money allow. But what of this journey of every day? And what can we learn from the pilgrims there? They, light-headed in the altitude, gasping in amazement at the alteration of clear, bright sunlight and wind-blown snows amid the vast, craggy highlands and steep-worn paths. It seems to me a wind blows here from Mount Kailash, or somewhere. And so we pilgrims of sidewalk and parking lot are sometimes taken unawares, not so much by windblown snows as by apples in the supermarket or sunshine through the trees next to the school. We gasp in amazement, lifted from our everyday selves for no reason at all. Let it be a pilgrimage each day, and may our journeys all be blessed. Thus ends the readings. My name is Joshua Goulet. and I am a chaplain here at Holy Family Hospital. I'm coming to you today from our absolutely wonderful chapel in our Haverhill campus. We're lucky enough to have Father Christopher Wallace of All Saints here in Haverhill come in and say Mass with our staff. I wanted to start by simply saying a thank you to Communities Together for asking me to preach this year. And I wanted to especially thank Executive Director Lee Schurter for all the absolute wonderful kindness and compassion and help that she's given me over the past few months. Communities Together is a wonderful organization, and Lee is a wonderful director. It is truly an honor to be associated with such wonderful and great people. So we are now in the season of Lent. Lent is one of my favorite times of year. It's a time of reflection, contemplation. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a thinker. Some may say too much of a thinker, although I would like to formally express my disagreement. I have thought a lot about what it means to think a lot, and I have come to the shocking conclusion that it's perfectly fine. If you are a thinker, do not be dissuaded. Lent is the time for you. If you are a doer, don't worry. We all have things we need to work on. Plus, there is still plenty to be done. Just like us thinkers, you doers will have enough to keep you busy during Lent. There are many places where the thinkers and the doers of the world can come together to seek spiritual common ground. And one such place where they can is that of pilgrimage. Lent is a pilgrimage of sorts, a journey. I don't know if any of you have ever been on a pilgrimage to a holy site. If you ever get a chance to, go. It doesn't have to be something led by religious leaders, something sanctioned by a group of learned people. It could be a trip to anywhere that you feel is sacred, anywhere that you have felt the sacred. There are two important things about pilgrimage. The first is that you find somewhere holy that you want to go to. The second is that you go. All the other details around these two main points can change, far or near, in a group or alone. None of these details matter for pilgrimage. The important thing is that you find somewhere you want to go, and then go. Pilgrimages are not just things of days gone by. They can be a wonderful spiritual practice for today. The Reverend Joshua Pollock explains that pilgrimage is a valuable spiritual practice. It deepens faith. It affirms, inspires, and strengthens connections to spiritual ancestors. In this day and age, spiritual practices, things that connect us to those besides us and those before us, are so important. Being grounded in faith can help us weather storms by reminding us that this is not new and we are not alone. Those who have gone before us have already been here, and they made it through. There is hope yet. This is one of the central messages of Lent for me as a Unitarian Universalist. For those of us who go through Lent, Easter is the holy place where we are headed towards. It's a place of rebirth, a place of resurrection. The world around us is coming back to life after so much time of being dead. and we are meant to see this. The church year makes us notice. The year starts with Advent and leads to Christmas. Christmas occurs, it's important to note, at the winter solstice, literally the darkest time of year. This is when we need to remind ourselves that the light is coming back. Things are not going to stay this bleak. Throughout the fall, we watched the world die around us, and we need hope. Christmas brings us that hope. So what happens after Christmas? Does the light come back quickly? Absolutely not. We needed to remind ourselves that the light was coming back right when the darkness was at its peak. We have still so much time in the dark yet to remain. We had so much time to wait until the world could be reborn and life could return. We needed to sit in the bleakness of the night. So each year, as the winter beats me with its bleakness, its coldness, its deadness, and all of its snow, I feel like I need to go somewhere. My feet get itchy. I'm ready for my next thing. I'm ready to go where there is life. I'm ready to be a Lenten pilgrim. So let me tell you, when Ash Wednesday comes around, I am glad that I can get going. I'm ready for life to begin again. I'm ready to start my pilgrimage towards rebirth. So Easter becomes the holy place of rebirth, the day of resurrection. It's a day when we look around and see the earth alive again. It's a day when we will get to look around and see the earth alive again. But we aren't there yet. We're still in Lent. We still have time to go. Each year on Ash Wednesday, there's a good chance that there is still snow on the ground. By Easter each year, there's a good chance it's gone. God willing, please let this year be that. So while Easter may be the day that we get to look around and marvel at what has become, Lent is the time where we get to look around and marvel at what is still becoming. We really need to remind ourselves that hope is not just where we are going, but hope can also be found along the way. The journey itself brings hope. We see this in our first reading in Psalm 121. The psalm is written from the point of view of a pilgrim, someone on their way to Jerusalem. But it's important to note that they aren't where they're going yet. They're still looking up at the mountains. They're not looking at the temple. And we can hear in their words that they are afraid. They need comfort. They have questions in their mind, like, will we make it there? Will we arrive safely? Will we be able to do what we set out to do? And according to the psalm, God is already there protecting them before they even arrived. Now, they're still going to finish their pilgrimage for sure, but God is already with them. In Lent, I find that I at least have this urge to focus on cleansing, to focus on my sinfulness, to focus on my need to repent. I often ask the question, what can I give up? Or how could I improve? And while that is absolutely important to these days, I want to highlight another aspect. That while you are on this pilgrimage, while you are preparing yourself, God will not let the sunlight burn you. While you are on this pilgrimage, you are protected, you are safe, you are loved. And yet you may still feel fear. We know the psalmist did. Otherwise, he would not have needed to be calmed. He would not have been looking to the mountaintops, asking from where his help will come. And so, in spite of all of that, in spite of the sacrifices to be made, in spite of the sacrifices being made, God was there. Just as God is with you, you are not alone. That's the beautiful thing about the church. There are fellow travelers with you. You have people to laugh with, people to cry with. You have people to complain with. And these are people who will listen to your complaints and you don't even need to pay them. These fellow travelers care about you just as you care about them. We are not alone. And that's the even more wonderful thing about organizations like Communities Together. Too often do we have groups of pilgrims headed to the same place, all riding on different buses. Communities Together gives us the opportunity to travel as one large group, to travel as one church. I think that might be what I love so much about our second reading from Mary Wellenmeyer. In her poem entitled The Journey, we get to hear her think out loud about pilgrimage. She names one of the most important pilgrimage sites from the world's religions, Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is a mountain in the Himalayas, sacred to many traditions, but in particular Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and an indigenous religion called Bon. Pilgrims to this mountain have sought so many different things. It is a holy trip made by so many people each year. And yet, Wellenmeyer points out that the ability to make this far-flung and expensive pilgrimage, while good, may not always be necessary. That it might be possible to feel a similar level of awe and amazement doing simple things, like holding an apple from the grocery store. The ethos of pilgrimage is not specific to traveling to a place, but it may be found in the here and now. All you have to do is pay attention and feel the breeze from Mount Kailash, or wherever it may be coming from. So as we are on this journey towards rebirth, this journey towards resurrection, I want to invite you into spiritual practices that center on pilgrimage toward Easter. Try and find the moments that evoke an anticipatory joy in the celebration of the rebirth of the world around you. The world is being reborn after so much darkness and coldness and sadness. Take note. Notice the landscape changing. More than half of the pilgrimage is the journey, not even where you arrive. And so while Easter is the day we celebrate its completion, remember that Lent is where we get to celebrate the process. Notice the snow mountains slowly melting. Notice the flowers slowly rising. Notice the bird songs changing and getting louder. Hear the peepers for the first time. try and feel that breeze from Mount Kailash, or wherever it's coming from. Blessed be, and Amen.